I'm Alan Weiss, and this is The Writing on the Wall. Hi, this is Alan Weiss. Welcome to The Writing on the Wall. Before I begin with episode 46, a small correction from episode 45, the last one you probably viewed. I said in that one that every state was guaranteed 2 representatives under the Constitution. In fact, every state is guaranteed 2 senators, but you can go down to only 1 representative. In fact, some states, I think Wyoming and Alaska and perhaps Delaware, only have 3 total, 2 senators and 1 representative. So my apologies, that error is totally mine, not Buddy Beagle and not the production staff. Now, on to episode 46, Volatility, the New Normal. Now, I'm standing out here in a lovely day. It's June the 1st. You might hear some sound from the river that goes under the bridge here and out into the bay. There's just a hint of a breeze. It's a lovely, calm summer's day, even though it's not officially summer. Yet these are volatile times. This morning, it's the Tuesday after Memorial Day, stock futures are down over 100 points. We have that dreadful oil rig explosion in the Gulf. We have another crisis in Israel. And so, even though it's a lovely, calm day, we have volatility around the world. But that's the norm. And that's why I'm telling you, volatility is the new norm. I'll tell you the most boring job in the world. The most boring job in the entire world is the weather forecaster in San Diego, California. Because every day is the same. Every day in San Diego is the same. Lovely place, don't get me wrong. Some of my best friends are San Diegans. However, every day is the same. And so you don't really need a weather forecaster there. What I like is the New England seasons. You can ski in the winter. The fall has beautiful foliage. The summer brings great swimming and beaches. And then the spring, everything comes to life. And so these are wonderful times, wonderful seasons. Volatility is nothing new. Some winters are horrible, some aren't. Some summers are dreadful, some aren't. Stock market futures fluctuate all over the place. Today, the stock market goes up and down by hundreds of points. Everybody goes about their work. We have sophisticated infrastructure today. It's very vulnerable to natural disaster. Ironically, the more sophisticated the infrastructure, the more it can be damaged by natural disaster. So while we can make some buildings earthquake-proof, the oil disaster in the Gulf is still harming shoreline and assets and resources that we can't even imagine yet the extent to which this will be damaged. The volcano in Iceland grounded modern air transportation throughout Europe. Our perceptions, in addition, can shift suddenly. Athletic stars, celebrities, politicians, one day they're heroes, the next day we find something amiss on their resume, or we find somebody with whom they've had an affair, and suddenly our whole world is turned around in terms of our perceptions. New technologies accelerate obsolescence. I just came back from a trip to Vancouver and took with me for the first time an iPad, and suddenly I'm not carrying hardcover books anymore. So all of these things add to the fact that this is the 21st century. Welcome to it. Volatility is the new norm. Now, what does it mean? It means expect it. Stop being so frightened. Don't worry about the newspaper headlines. Here we are getting along. Throughout the 50s and some part of the 60s, most of us live with the threat of nuclear annihilation every day, and yet here we still are. So you have to expect the volatility. You have to expect the constant change. It's part of the equation today. In fact, I would say to you, create it. Don't just be timid and expect it or fear it. Create it. Create your own volatility. Create change with your clients. Create change with your customers. Introduce radically new products and services. Change the way in which you deal with them using technology, using more of a personal approach, using their involvement. But don't view volatility as necessarily something that's going to kill you. View it as something you can take advantage of. At Apple, Steve Jobs says we jump on the next big thing. He's done pretty well with that. So stop thinking it's Chicken Little out there. It's really Paul Revere. And that depends upon your frame of mind and your perceptions. Whatever you do, don't assume stasis. That's probably the worst prediction you can make. Things will not stay the same. Nothing will stay the same. And so you can bet on the fact that things will continue to change, and that's normal, and you should take advantage of it. Houses, for example, are no longer the golden piggy banks we thought. They're not something you can buy and expect to double your value in 2 years and sell. Yet people today are still saying, I'm putting my house on the market, but no one's offering me the price I want. Or it's tough for me to buy a new home because credit is tight. That's the way it is today. Housing's not going to be that golden piggy bank it used to be. Maybe something else will be. I remember, since I'm into cars here, I remember when exotic cars were the big thing to invest in. You bought $1 million Ferrari and you put it up on blocks and you were going to sell it 3 years later for $5 million. Hasn't happened, doesn't happen. That's not the way of the world anymore. Despite exceptions, things are changing. Billing based on time, which you've heard me rail about forever, is one of those things that's going to continue to change. Just 2 weeks ago, the Australian Chief Justice came out and chastised the legal profession for charging by the hour. He said it was inappropriate, it was not right for clients, it gave an unfair representation of their worth and value. I sent him a copy of value-based fees. Haven't heard back from him yet. I'm sure I will. So we're not here to stick our toe in the water. We're here to make waves. Take volatility for what it is, a nice wave you can surf on. And unlike the ninth wave that surfers talk about, there'll be constant waves you can surf on. Constant volatility. That's the constant you can depend upon. You've all heard probably about the book The Black Swan. Nobody knew there were black swans until somebody finally saw one. They assumed all swans were white. Well, guess what? There are white German shepherds. Not all German shepherds are brown and black. People say, is Koufax an albino? He's not. He's a white German shepherd. They say, oh, he's an Alsatian. He is not. He's a white German shepherd. Yet some people have never seen one and they won't believe it. But you've seen one right here. You'd better start believing. Let's go, Koufax. Come on, Koufax. Get in the car. In the car. Good boy.